Jonathan, if you do it the right way, like with Jacob, you can inherit the promise and God can fix things and he can restore things. All right. And so I apologize to you guys for not being prepared, for not having the right questions, for not having the full information. I did something that was foolish and I made a mess. All right. I made a bigger mess. All right. I saw Jacob and I saw Potiphar's wife, so be careful. We're not operating in manipulation, because at the end of the day, you recording conversations and lying about it is wrong. And there's wrong to go around, all right?
Hello, Anointed One, and welcome back to our Anointed TV channel, where we dive deep into the latest events shaping faith, culture, and the Christian world. Today, we're discussing a heartfelt and humbling statement by Marcus Rogers regarding his involvement with Jonathan, Suzy, and Joni Lamb. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated.
Number one, I repent publicly, all right, for jumping into what I thought was a pool and it became an ocean of mess and drama.
Marcus Rogers has said that he is repenting publicly for jumping into what he thought was a pool, which became an ocean of mess and drama. This is about the two videos that he has since deleted, which are his interviews with Jonathan and Suzy Lamb and the one with Joni Lamb. Marcus got a lot of backlash for doing a follow-up video with Joni Lamb, which people felt he wasn't prepared for it and never interrogated her enough. He was accused of siding with Joni, and his apology video seems to confirm. So I will tell you why in a moment. Here's what Marcus had to say, and why this situation has become such a talking point in the Christian community.
Jonathan and Suzy, all right? I apologize for not going down there prepared. If I had more information, then I could have been properly prepared to even ask you guys certain questions that don't put you in such a good light. Because the reality of the matter is, your mother has stuff that she could highlight and put on her platform that would make you look really bad. And then it would be up to the court of public opinion. And she could crush you, but she didn't. And that's just the reality. I saw some of the stuff, and anybody who's objective, if that stuff got put out there, right, the text messages and things that I saw, it would not be good. And so the bottom line is, look, I'm not qualified to judge it, but I prayed about it. And the word that I feel is God showed me Jacob, right? Jacob was in line to get the blessing, to get the promise. And he went to his father, he put on a costume and tried to deceive his way into the promise. The bottom line is, when you started recording stuff secretly, and then they asked, are you recording? And you lie and you said no. Lying, that is wrong. And my interactions with you and your wife, a lot of times when I was trying to hear from you or get an answer from you, even there was one incident where I tried to talk to you privately, it was like your wife would answer for you. And so, Jonathan, I think that you need to grow, you need to mature. And just like with Jacob, if you go back to that pastor that you said you trust, that your mom says that she trusts, that I trust, I believe you need to go sit with your mom and that pastor privately and get wise counsel before this thing gets uglier. It's not beneficial to keep doing interviews and keep putting things online. It's dishonorable to uncover your mother. If you know some things, see some things, let God be the judge and go to the elders of the church and let them, I promise, if you go to the elders of the church and get counsel, God will be just and he will resolve it. And so this is the thing, just like, Jacob, he tried a deceptive way to get the promise, to get the inheritance, but then he had an altar moment. God changed his name, and eventually, right, he was able to walk in that promise. And I believe the same thing can happen for you. I'm praying for your family. I believe that there can be reconciliation. Your father built this company, and you are his son at the end of the day, but you have to do it the right way. And allowing the media and me and YouTube and news reporters to do it is not the biblical way to do it. Suzy, I prayed about you, and this is what the Lord showed me. He showed me Jacob for your husband, and he showed me, not that you're just whatever, but I saw Potiphar's wife. When you got on that phone and recorded yourself crying to something, so it's like almost like a performance. I get on the phone and I'm crying, and I'm recording myself crying. The Lord showed me Potiphar's wife, and I have to be real, and I have to tell you this, Suzy. Every respectable man of God that I know that has more wisdom than me, I don't know what your camp is telling you, but they saw certain red flags with you not allowing your husband to be the man that he needs to be. And I know you guys are going to be upset. You're going to be mad. Nobody in your camp is going to be happy that I said that. But that is what the Lord showed me. You need to step back and let Jonathan be the man. Jonathan needs to go seek wise counsel privately with the elders of the church and let God judge it and bring everything to the light. All right. You guys had a lot of information from both sides, and I don't believe that the way it was handled was right. I believe that, this situation with the daughter, however, what everybody feels about it, it's in God's hands.
This video was more of a condemnation of Jonathan and Suzy than an apology. In his evaluation, he says that Jonathan shouldn't have gone public with all the information he has shared, since his mother Joni has more damning evidence that, if released, would make them look bad. This sounds like a threat warning them against speaking anymore. It is also hypocritical, since he would have shared this advice before doing interviews, which he shared publicly on his platform, and he even confessed that he wanted to allow them to tell their story on his platform. He is only giving it after he has already contributed to the mess. It's a good and sober advice, but his timing is hypocritical. He then goes ahead to accuse Jonathan of being Jacob and Suzy of being Potiphar. He has already passed judgment, since we know what the two characters did in the Bible. Jacob used deception to arm twist his brother and father to obtain an inheritance. Is this so for Jonathan? As for Potiphar, she falsely accused Joseph of attempted rape after he rejected her sexual advances, resulting in him being thrown in prison. Does he mean that Suzy is falsely accusing Pete? He then accuses Jonathan of being immature, and Suzy of being overbearing and not allowing Jonathan to be a man. There was also the accusation that Suzy allegedly recorded herself crying and sent it to her friend, which Christian Foray responded with this clarification on her X account. Dear Marcus Rogers, as much as God tells you, it seems like God would have told you it was a voice text that you're talking about here. Suzy Lamb was not recording herself crying, as you say here in this apology video. She sent her friend a voice text when she was going through a very hard time. That friend kept it because she was afraid for Suzy, and that friend released it with Suzy's permission at a later date. This was not Potiphar's wife planning to record herself on a phone call. It wasn't a phone call. Your word here is off because you based it on another lie you are spreading. Please humble yourself and step aside. Even in your apology, you center yourself and act like you are some prophet with a word for everyone. You've, admittedly, gotten every single thing wrong about this. Time to take the L and take a seat. Nobody believes your whole "God told me" narrative. God is not confused by this. You are. And that's fine. You can have your own feelings, opinions, and emotions about this. We all do. But acting like you are hearing from God about 15 conflicting things is not a good look. You said God told you to go to Suzy and Jonathan. You now say that was a mistake. You said God told you to go to Daystar. You now say that was wrong. Apologizing is good, but continuing to do the same thing in your very apology is nuts. Glad you are bowing out. But watching you spread more lies and drag Suzy on your way out is not the godly and biblical flex you think it is. End quote. It seems that Marcus has not taken the time to listen carefully to all the audio that Jonathan and Suzy have released. Another notable reaction on her X page was from Beth Kirley, who said, I guess if God wanted any exposure today, it was Marcus Rogers exposing himself. And he'll call us haters for saying that. But we're not. This has been devastating to watch unfold. He said it himself yesterday. There is a right side to this. And he has just shown us which side he supports and which side he rebukes via prophetic spiritual abuse on YouTube. He has also shown us the character and voice of the God who speaks to him so clearly and doesn't seem to pause to question where his humanity ends and God begins. Because of that, I do pray for him. Mark and avoid. This can be seen by how Joni Lamb and Rachel Lamb reacted to his apology video. Joni Lamb said, "Thank you, Marcus Rogers. This says a lot about your character. Your apology and assessment of this video are appreciated." While Rachel Lamb, in her 10th post, which she pinned on her timeline, said, "Thank you, Marcus Rogers, for repenting. This says a lot about your character. Your apology on this video is appreciated." What do these reactions make you think of them? Now we know which side Marcus is supporting. In my evaluation, this was not an apology video, but his judgment video. He told us Jonathan and Suzy shouldn't have gone public. Jonathan is immature and a deceiver, while Suzy is falsely accusing Pete and was holding Jonathan by the tie, as Joni said in one of the audios released. The title apology was just clickbait. What do you think? Let us engage in the comment section. See you in the next video.
And to be honest, when I read the story, I'm like, there's no way in the world you're going public, against your mom like this, and what your father built and saying these kind of things. But the reality of the matter is that was not wisdom. The Bible says a fool only hears one side of the matter. And I was a fool to go down there, even though I thought I was doing the right thing. What I should have did, guys, send me a video, I'll upload it so your side can be heard, right? And so with that being said, I want to, I'm praying for the daughter, the granddaughter, because she's the real victim in all of this. Regardless of how you look at it, she's a victim of a billion-dollar Christian company having this fallout. And so I want to say this, right? I made a mistake, and now it's like, okay, I got to clean it up. I got everybody calling me. Now, mind you, there's a lot of people praising me. There's a lot of people saying, Marcus, that was awesome. You did the right thing. The easy thing, obviously, would have been just to leave it there and leave it alone. The problem is I did ignore some red flags. I felt some things in the spirit. I knew everything wasn't, but I did something and it was foolish, bottom line. And so to the daughter, to the granddaughter, right? I'm praying for you. I asked, could I bring this elder to the interview? I said elder, but it was just really an older man of God that I knew. And the reason why I wanted to bring him is because I felt like I was going into something that, I didn't know what I was going to get. This is Daystar. This is this big thing. Jesus sent them 2 by 2. Iron sharpens iron. And so, some of you guys know Corey Minor, the smart Christian. I was like, let me bring him with me. So that way, when we do this interview, we can get all the tough questions, whatever things that maybe I miss, he can be there and we can, do the interview together. And so at first she said yes, she didn't, and then the next day they said, we want all the names of everybody coming. I gave them the names, and then they said he couldn't come. So at that moment, right, I knew I'm about to get a spanking. If I had did my due diligence and used more wisdom, I knew I was going to go down there. I knew it was going to be a softball interview. I knew that I was going to get backlash. So you guys, and the reason why I wore a suit, people say, why you wear a suit? I wore a suit because I didn't know what I was getting into. I'm from a military background. You go to the White House or whatever, you put a suit on. It wasn't like because I see one side better or because I was looking for a job interview. I knew, like, I'm about to go down here. I'm going to get a spanking. So I went there. They were eating lunch, and I didn't eat anything, so it was a little bit awkward. And as you guys saw, you want to call it a softball interview, fine. But the bottom line is they showed me stuff that showed me why what I did was foolish. There was stuff that was definitely questionable. And so you guys saw it. Everybody was mad about it. I came back. I prayed. I fasted. I stayed at the church. I said, God, I made a mistake. I jumped in too early. I didn't have both sides. This is way bigger than me. I was not prepared. Now I got to take the hits that come with that. So I prayed about it. I said, God, what do I do? What do I feel about all this stuff? And I do feel like God gave me something. And I'm just going to, after this, I'm going to leave it alone. And, I'm going to butt out of it, and I'm going to wash my hands, and I'm praying for the daughter. I believe that she's the most important. The situation with Pete, I was praying about the situation with Pete. I saw all the evidence, text messages, things like that. And the